Hello and welcome to the Starting 5 video series. I'm Adam Spencer and I hope you guys enjoy this video series that we're going to put together for you during this college basketball season. This time, we're going to start off with the NBA draft, which is coming up on Wednesday, November 18th, after being delayed a few times. We're going to start with the best fits for each of the 5 SEC guys who are probably going to go in round 1 of the draft. So we're going to have Anthony Edwards out of Georgia, Isaac Okoro out of Auburn, Tyrese Maxey out of Kentucky, Vanderbilt's Aaron Nesmith, and finally Okoro Lewis Jr. out of Alabama. Why don't we start with Anthony Edwards? Can we start with Anthony Edwards? All right, let's do that. He might be the number 1 overall pick, but the Minnesota Timberwolves hold the number 1 overall pick after a terrible season, so it should come as no surprise that that is not who I'm going to put as the best fit. When you're in the top 5 of the draft, though, top 10 even, I know there's a lot of trades and stuff that go around, but you're not going to end up with a good team. But Edwards is in an interesting situation this year. The Golden State Warriors are sitting there with the number 2 overall pick. Now, they might trade out of that. There's some rumors swirling about what they might do. They might try to package a guy like Andrew Wiggins with the pick to try to just move out of that spot and get somebody who can help them now. But they have Steph Curry coming off an injury. They have Klay Thompson coming off of an injury. They have Andrew Wiggins coming back as of right now. And they have Draymond Green, one of the best defenders in the NBA. I think that would be a wonderful spot for Edwards to end up. He's a guy who needs to work on his shooting, but Wiggins wasn't a great shooter coming out of Kansas either. I think that he could learn a lot from Wiggins. But also, if you're going to be a shooter in the NBA and you want to work on your craft, who better than Steph and Klay to learn from? I mean, come on. Anthony Edwards also needs to work on his defense. He's got the athleticism to be an above-average defender in the NBA. But with a guy like Green behind him, helping out and just communicating back and forth, that's Green's specialty. He's going to correct a lot of mistakes, and the best part, he's going to keep Edwards honest on that end of the floor. You can't take off when you have Draymond Green behind you. He's going to let you hear about it. So I like him going to the Warriors, number 2 overall. Next up on my big board, I think that we have another top 10 pick coming out of the SEC, and that's Isaac Okoro, the forward out of Auburn. He's just a great defender already. He's going to get a lot of attention in the top 10. He could slide into the top 5, but I have him and his ideal fit as the Atlanta Hawks at number 6 overall. Now, a lot of people have been mocking him to the Bulls at number 7. I don't think anybody's best fit is in Chicago right now with that current roster, and they're undergoing a coaching change. So I'm going to put him with the Hawks because, you know what? He's not the best shooter right now. He's got a decent three-point shot that he showed at times, and he can make jumpers when he's open, but that's a part of his game that he needs to improve. He doesn't need to be an all-star shooter right away in Atlanta because you know what? They have a guy named Trae Young on offense who's going to handle everything that team needs, a la James Harden in Houston. Trae Young, he's going to dribble, he's going to shoot. He's also a better passer than people give him credit for. So when Okoro is working with Young, if the Hawks draft him, that's going to be a great fit because he's going to be able to just work off the ball and just be ready to shoot. And that's all that he doesn't need to create. He doesn't need to do too much movement. He just needs to set screens for Young and just then get out of the way and let Trae do his thing. Let Trae cook. I think that that's going to be a great fit for him at number 6 overall to the Atlanta Hawks. Next, let's move on to Aaron Nesmith out of Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt's produced some good players in the past few years, even as their results in the SEC have really tanked. Nesmith might be the best player out of Vanderbilt in a long time. Nesmith has shown the potential to be a great 3-and-D guy in this league, and that makes him a good fit for a team like the New Orleans Pelicans at number 13 overall. They're bringing in Stan Van Gundy, who's been an analyst for the past couple of years, and he's going to revitalize that team, I think. And then you have Zion Williamson already in place, and a guy like Zion, he can be used a lot like Giannis. You spread the floor for him and just let him cook, let him get to the basket. When you have a guy like Nesmith over in the corner, that's all you need. Zion's going to be loving life if he gets a guy like Nesmith, and Nesmith has the athleticism to be an above-average defender, so, you know, a lot like Okoro, but with a better jumper, and he's not as good on defense as Okoro, but they're similar styles, and so you need a guy who can create offense to play alongside those guys. In Zion, Aaron Nesmith would find the perfect running mate. So I have him going to the Pelicans at number 13 overall. Let's move on to Okoro Lewis Jr. there's going to be a debate at number 15 overall if Lewis and Tyrese Maxey are both still on the board, but I think that Lewis is the better fit in Orlando because the Magic already have Markelle Fultz, Michael Carter-Williams, who's a free agent, and DJ Augustin. Now, DJ Augustin's contract, it only has 1 year, $7 million left on it, so it might be a valuable trade asset, and you can make a case that Maxey fits there, but the Magic don't have very many shooters. If you put Markelle Fultz on the court at one of the guard positions, you're going to need a guard who can hit threes because Markelle Fultz's jump shot is on its way back, but it's still an absolute mess. That dates back to his time in Philly when he was the number 1 overall pick, and we all know how that went in Philadelphia. My producer, Will, he's a big Magic guy. He covers the team, and he wants Lewis over Maxey. I think for most of the same reasons that I've listed. He could start tomorrow with the Magic and be a better three-point shooter than anyone on that roster not named Evan Fournier. I like him to come in and take over the point guard spot right away as a rookie and just show what he showed in Alabama under Nate Oates. Just run down the court, get things going offensively. The Magic need a little more flow to their offensive game, and the Magic have been knocking on the door for a few years of, maybe taking a step up in the East, and I think that Kira Lewis Jr. is their best fit. Just spacing the floor, helping a guy like Fournier not have to carry so much of an offensive load on a nightly basis. That leaves us with Tyrese Maxey as the last SEC player on the board, and I have him going to the Miami Heat at number 20 overall. I think that is the home run of the draft. If Maxey falls to number 20, the Heat shouldn't use more than 30 seconds to make that pick. Maxey has the potential to turn into a guy like Goran Dragic. And Dragic, he wasn't a great three-point shooter when he got to the NBA. His three-point percentages were wildly fluctuating for his first few years in the league, but then he sort of figured it out now that he's in Miami. And Maxey can learn a lot from that. Maxey's a guy who can create off the dribble. He can hit a mid-range jumper. He can get to the rim. He can finish. And I like that skill set in Miami, where he's going to be playing alongside a leader like Jimmy Butler. He's got a big and Bam Adebayo who just can dominate, a former Kentucky guy too. Speaking of former Kentucky guys, how about Tyler Hero and Duncan Robinson? They're the ones who are going to handle the three-point shooting. So yes, Maxey has the potential to develop into a decent three-point shooter, but there's no rush on that because you have two of the best in the business right now. Hero, who is a self-proclaimed bucket, can also give the former Kentucky Wildcat Maxey a hand in shooting, and I'm sure that they'll be close. And I would like to see sort of that Kentucky connection down in Miami. I think that would be a lot of fun for. I know Coach Calipari would love to see that, and he's compared Maxey to another former Wildcat, Jamal Murray. And if he can turn into even 80% of the player that Jamal Murray has turned into with the Nuggets, watch out, because the Heat, they just made it to the NBA Finals where they lost to the Lakers. But you put a guy like Maxey on that team, and if he develops quickly, this is a team that can make another deep playoff run next year. So I have Maxey going number 20 overall to the Miami Heat, and that concludes our best fits big board. So hope you've enjoyed this starting 5 video series. We're going to have plenty more for you from here on out. So once again, I'm Adam Spencer. Thanks a lot for joining me, and we'll see you soon.